Aloha, beautiful souls. Welcome to A Better World with Adrienne. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to have you and host you and pour through this portal to change your life, to change my life, to change the world. So, how do we change the world? How do we make a better world? Each of us change ourselves. So, there was an amazing quote I just heard, and it was, if we all set out to change the world, nothing will ever change because we won't change ourselves. We'll be constantly wanting to improve things outside us, right? If each of us go within and change ourselves, imagine if the whole world did that. Imagine if the whole world just went within and changed themselves, then we would automatically create a better world. So, first, it's an inside job. Then we shine our light to others, and the face of the world changes as we know it. So, this is a brand new episode, and I'm really excited to channel this because I really have been in a portal of transformation, a lot of big change, a lot of big anchoring, a lot of big choices. And I'm recording this the day before the first Pisces North Node eclipse. This is the energy that is going to be carrying us karmically for the next 3 years, all the way till 2027, which is a huge year in the background frequency on planet Earth. So it's a big fucking deal. It's a crazy time to be alive. And I'm excited to channel this episode because I've really been in a lot of these big decisions and just coming back to the ancient codes, coming back to the original things that have always served me, the habits, the skills. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do an episode on the OG skills of a life fully lived, because you choosing a life fully lived is your first and most important thing you will do for New Earth, for a better world. Okay. From that wellspring, from that full cup, from that vibrant, amazing, one of a kind life that you're here to lead, that's when you will make your deepest contribution. Okay. So I'm really excited to share this. It just came pouring through my channel, and I know that this is going to be a new lens, a deeper learning, a very important message for you and every other New Earth leader in your life. So, before I get carried away on a cloud of creativity and joy, let us call upon the altar. This is what makes this podcast different from other podcasts. This podcast is, yes, a learning podcast. This podcast is, yes, about thoughts and ideas. This is a transmission. This is a cellular mutative transmission for change. So on the altar is how we say thank you in advance to spirit. It's how we set the stage for miracles because we create the space for them. I have a bright pink hydrangea on the altar representing unconditional love, heart chakra love. I have an unscented white candle burning, purifying the space. I have 3 white hydrangeas representing mind, body, spirit, representing the purification, the clarity, the white linen, the blank snow, the fresh, the Virgo essence, where all the spectrums of color come together. I have a blue Chardonnay crystal representing the third eye, representing intuition, representing your innate ability to know, to trust your knowing, and to be connected to the web that is designed to support us, that is designed to co-create with us, that is pulsing through your veins right here, right now. And so with the altar, we say thank you, thank you, thank you to spirit. And the last piece of our altar is the element of air. So no matter what you're doing, I invite you to either keep your eyes open if you are walking, driving, skipping, dancing. If you are in a place to close your eyes, feel your feet on Mother Earth, let your eyelids soften. First, empty out completely. Inhale through the nose. Feel the divine white light. Fill your whole entire body. Open your crown chakra to messages from the divine. Exhale out the mouth. Inhale through the nose. Feel your third eye open, the space between your eyebrows, the inner knowing, the sight, the feeling. Exhale out the mouth. This time, inhale through the nose. Hold it at the top and feel a pink light surround your whole body, including your heart. Keep holding your breath and allow your heart to expand out and feel your own heartbeat. Unconditional love. Connection to every single other person receiving this podcast, past, present, and future. Connection to every single member of the human family. Connection to all beings everywhere. Connection to the force of life. For the highest timeline and good of all. Keep holding because you're strong. Exhale out the mouth. And with that, we have officially opened our sacred space, our sacred portal, our sacred transmission. We are connected. And now let's drop in. Open your eyes if you had them closed. OG skills of a life fully lived. OG skills of a life fully lived. This is where mindfulness meets manifestation, meets power. The inner child meets the CEO, okay? The boss bitch meets the soft, delicate priestess, okay? This is not gendered, this is for all beings. I really have been getting clear on, what does OG mean, by the way? OG is an acronym, uppercase O, uppercase G. It stands for original gangster, okay? It's slang. I'm a millennial. I'm recording this in 2024. This has been slang for a while. This just means original, authentic, like bedrock. It's like the OG. It's the person that went first. It's like, this is the original shit. This is not a ripoff. This is not dampered. This is not diluted. This is the original real shit that makes stuff happen. All right? OG. It's the OG. And there's a lot of, honestly, bullshit misinformation out there about spirituality, about just how to make dreams, all this political propaganda, all of this propaganda about there's propaganda left, right, and center. There is misinformation left, right, and center. And it really is, we're being called to the ancient codes. And what does that mean? Returning to the OG, the new earth style. And so what I really am sharing in today's episode is OG skills. Okay. And the reason why I'm sharing these as skills is because they are things that every single person can learn. All right. Something that really doesn't work is when people talk about talent, when people talk about luck, when people talk about gifts, all right? Because all of that can be squandered. I have seen people sit on raw talent my whole life and never make anything of themselves, never make a dream, never leave their comfort zone. And I look at them and they are extremely gifted. They are extremely talented. They are extremely like resourced in everything they need for their potential. And yet they do not create it. Why? Because they haven't mastered the skills required. Why? Because they are complacent. Why? Because they are operating from a nervous system that keeps them caged. Okay. So I specifically say skills because this is something every single person can learn, including you. And these are things to be honed, to be harnessed, to be sharpened, to get better at your whole damn life. I decided a long time ago, and I invite you into this decision, and every single meaningful, impactful New Earth leader will make this decision. Decide that until the day you die, you're going to be learning. There's always things to learn. There's always ways to grow. Like if you're listening to this podcast, I bet you probably already made that decision because you wouldn't be listening to me talking about all this shit week after week after week if you were not obsessed with learning, if you were not obsessed with love and growth and healing, if you were not obsessed with spirituality, if you were not obsessed with, okay, this idea of like a better world. Yeah, I'm down for that. And I'm going to do my part for it. So these are all things you can learn. And it's OG skills of a life fully lived. One of the greatest tragedies people do not talk about that happens every single day is people die without fully living. They get to the end of their life and they realize they never fully lived. They get to their deathbed and they have regrets. They get to the end of their life and they're like, fuck, I didn't do it. I squandered this. There were big dreams. I was too scared to make a move. You know, this is excruciating. Do not allow that to be you. And then make a pact, make an oath that every single person you interact with in your life, you can be the reason they choose to fully live. All right? We all came here to fully live. The way you fully live is different than me. Every single one of us is coded, is blueprinted, is designed. We have unique souls. We have unique desires and interests. You know, I am obsessed with the ocean, and part of my life fully lived is that I will take weekly surfing lessons. I will master surfing, and I will become a really, really good surfer. I know that I'm going to be doing that. Okay. Now, to someone else, that might sound like hell. They might, you know, really just want to write in silence and just crank out like 10 books and impact the masses and change their own life every time they write. You know, it really doesn't matter what it means to you. What it does mean is that part of your purpose, your most important first step in your purpose path is living a life fully lived on your terms, living your dream life. That's the first step. Everything else after that happens so easy. The problem is most people kink off their hose to the magic, kink off their hose to spirit, kink off their hose to abundance. They're like, oop, that's too much. That's too much. That's a wattage I'm not used to. And it's like, yo, you came here to live at full wattage. So these are the skills that are going to get you there. And it's mindfulness meets manifestation like, whoa. If you don't know this about me, I am a trained meditation teacher. I used to teach asana, which is yoga. I have done mindfulness coaching trainings. Like, of course, I'm a breathwork facilitator. I'm a shaman. My work now is very intuitive. Like, I've spent the past 15 plus years of my life coaching people in high performance one-on-one, whether it is has been musicians on a path to win auditions and live their dream playing in stages across the world, whether it is coaching young entrepreneurs, whether it is breath work, astrology. Like, I have codes, I have frameworks, and I have years and years and years and years and years of experience teaching these things. And in my own personal process lately, I have really been coming back to the OGs. What are the OG skills of a life fully lived? Because I've been in my bandwidth for uncertainty keeps getting stretched to new levels. Why? Because I keep getting stretched to new levels of my spiritual growth, my leadership, my Dharma path. Like, without these skills, I would not be traversing this well. So I'm sharing them with you today. Let's dive in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 9 OG skills of a life fully lived. First one is intuition. Intuition is a skill. Now, everyone has intuition. Rare is the soul that builds the skill of constantly being in communication with it, builds the skill of constantly discerning that in how it feels in their body, how it feels in their soul, knowing the difference between that and anxiety, that and fear, that and a nervous system response. And it's a skill to not just recognize your intuition, not just acknowledge your intuition, but relentlessly obey the intuition. I have a whole episode. It's called Relentless Intuition, Moving to Maui. And I recorded it when I was going through this like 6-month cycle in my life where my intuition was telling me to do things and my mind was freaking the fuck out. And I just know that every time I ignore my intuition, shit goes wrong. I have unnecessary suffering. There's problems. There's you know, it's just unnecessary bullshit in my life when I don't honor my intuition. However, if you are not tapped into your intuition and can discern your intuition, you will never, ever, ever be able to live from it. So this is the first OG skill of a life fully lived. You must develop the skill of noticing, recognizing, and obeying, living by your intuition. Okay. The second OG skill is presence. Be here now. Every time you are ruminating on the past, depression is when you're ruminating on the past. You keep going over and over and over and over and playing it in your mind. What could I have done differently? What about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? Not only is this literally torturing yourself, you become depressed and it's not productive and you're robbing yourself of the present moment. So this is where the mindfulness comes in, is like, mindfulness is the ability to observe yourself from a space of non-judgment. Okay. And I've been called deeper into my presence and my be here now because I noticed that I recently left Maui unexpectedly, and it took me about 2 months to fully let go. It took me about 2 months to fully stop replaying things in my mind. And I was noticing myself in that ruminating in the past. And what also happens when you ruminate on the past is you recreate the past, because that's where your mind is and thoughts become things. And then you are in a fight or flight response in your nervous system. And then you start to manifest similar experiences as you did in the past from this state of like trapping yourself in your own psyche. So being this ability to be fully present, be here now, is an immense, immense life skill for a life fully lived. You cannot live your life at full wattage if you are not present. End of story. Same thing about the future, right? Now, when we are manifesting goals, dreams, visions, we do want to be in touch with that future. We do want to be in touch with this visualization, and that is all really, really, really important. And then we get to be present. And it's like, okay, that version of me, how would they live this day? And presence really can be, how can I make this the most joyful day of my life? How can I make this the most fun? Like, no matter if it's like a really quote unquote shitty thing that you didn't expect, like, how can you be present with it? Because once you're present with it, you radically accept it, you surrender to it, and that's the only moment you can change something. The only moment you can change something is when you are fully present with it, you accept it, and from that place of acceptance, you can shift. If you are denying the present moment, which is what happens when you ruminate on the past or worry about the future. So anxiety is future-based. Depression is past-based. Joy is presence. Faith is presence. Love is presence. Be here now. We only ever have the present moment. This is where a life fully lived exists. It's a key skill. And it's not like someone's ever just going to be permanently in the present moment, right? It is a skill. It is a tool, and you will get better at it the more and more and more you grow. Now, there are things that I used to, years ago, really coach myself through daily moment to moment, right? I don't need to do that stuff anymore as much because it's integrated. It's a holy habit. It's not something I think about, it's something I automatically do. I have neural pathways that support that presence, right? So all of this is under the lens of holy habits, because we are what we repeatedly do, and skills are made from habits. You can't master a skill without having habits. You can't master a skill without having repetitive habits coded in. One of my teachers used to say, burn it in. And that was in reference to, in classical music, when you were working on a specific piece, a specific, musical, you might call it a song. Musicians call it a piece or a work. When you're mastering something, you first figure out how to do it well. Second, you figure out how to do it well consistently. Third, you figure out how to do it well consistently without thinking about it, so you can tap into your creativity and channel the magic, the artistry, right? So you got to burn it in. Burn it in so deep that you automatically play it at a high, pristine level. Then your artistry comes online. Technique determines artistry. Habits determine artistry. Skills determine artistry. Presence determines artistry. You cannot be a creator and artist of your life fully lived if you have not mastered the skill of presence. Okay? The third OG skill is meditation and or silence. So I believe in every single bone of my body that meditation changes every single person's life. Silence changes every single person's life. If you cannot sit with yourself and be in your own company without distraction, that must become your most important priority today. You will never be able to access any of these other things if you do not know who you are. If you are constantly listening to music, if you're constantly listening to podcasts, if you're constantly being inundated with other people's ideas, TV, news, media, smartphone, if you are constantly inundated, you will never hear your own thoughts, let alone tame them, let alone change them, let alone detach from them. You must become your own best friend, and that happens in meditation. I have not met one successful person that doesn't meditate in some way or another, that doesn't do some kind of consistent practice where they're in silence with themselves. It's so important. And in our current world, everything will drown out, will block you from having this deep bond with yourself and with source. Meditation is an OG skill of a life fully lived. You know, when I experience all of my downloads, meditation and silence. In Sacred Saturday, which is, if you are new here, it's my weekly digital detox ritual every single Saturday for the past 5+ years. I have done a digital detox of at least 24 hours. No social media. Most of the time, I turn my phone off. I call it teleporting to the 90s. Remember the 90s when we were bored and we just, went outside and played and we just left and came home when it was sunset? Not needing to be always, responding right away and all of this shit. Meditation and silence. Now, there's been studies done where they've taken groups of people and it's like they offer them, they're like, either you can get an electric shock or we will leave you for 20 minutes where you sit in silence with your own thoughts. And the majority of people chose an electric shock. And what does that tell you? That tells you that most people would rather be shocked, would rather experience physical pain than be alone with themselves. That if that doesn't wake you up, if that doesn't disturb you, if that doesn't shine a light of why the world is the way it is, nothing will. Meditation is a priority. You will not have a life fully lived if you don't have meditation and silence in your life. You are the love of your life. You are the only person that is with you every single moment of every single day from birth till death. Not even your own mother, not even your own family, not even your own partner, not even your siblings are there with you every single moment of every day. This is the most important relationship in your life, along with your relationship to source. And there's no way you're going to even touch any of the other skills if you are not meditating and if you are not in silence regularly. Now, it doesn't mean that you need to go full monk mode and like go off the grid for like a week or a month. That might be really good for you. However, that could be too much to start. I recommend starting with daily meditation. If you are interested in mastering any of these skills, by the way, go to the link in the show notes, apply for mentorship. My email is in there. Email me and we'll figure out what's the best way for you and I to work together, because this stuff fucking matters and it's a priority. Like, you do not need another course. You do not need to learn more shit. You need to sit in silence with yourself and get to know yourself and navigate your inner world and navigate your inner landscape and navigate your nervous system so you can actually be who the fuck you are. If you don't have that, the rest doesn't matter. So it's huge. Okay, number 4 OG skill, summon and command. So this happens after intuition, after presence, after meditation, summon and command. You take command of your mind. You take command of your life. You summon emotions. You summon experiences. You summon mindsets. You summon attitudes. Okay? This is where you step out of a victim and you step into a powerful creator in your life. It's like when you notice a thought and you're like, oh, that thought's not serving me in a positive way. I kick it out. I choose a different one. Why? Because I'm in command. This is the same thing with like scrolling. I'm a huge proponent of digital detox. And I say, just if you catch yourself scrolling, just stop. Take command. A lot of people don't like the word command because it brings up stuff about control and over masculine, but honestly, the world's gotten too soft. The world has gotten too soft. What happened to taking command of your life? What happened to having standards of ethics? What happened to having a higher expectation of yourself? I expect a lot of myself, and that's a good thing. For whatever reason, it's been demonized like the past few years. It's like, yeah, I expect a lot from myself. Why wouldn't I? I'm fucking awesome. I'm a fucking powerful, one-of-a-kind creator. I am God source energy in human form. I have a child of the stars. I'm here on divine assignment. Why would I not expect a lot of myself? So you summon and command. You can choose emotions at any time of any day. You really can. And it just takes managing your mind correctly. Now, I'm not talking about bypassing. I'm not talking about not healing your nervous system. I'm not talking about shoving down your emotions. I have, set times where I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be feeling my feelings. I'm going to be doing breath work at this time. This is all key, the ways I design my life. However, if I'm about to walk into a room full of people, I command myself. And I do it like this. I'm like, okay, what are the 3 words I want to bring into this? What's the energy I'm bringing in? Okay, playfulness, presence, and power. And then I say in my mind, I'm like, play, presence, power. Play, presence, power. Ready, set, go. And then I walk in the room, and that's exactly what happens. Why? Because I summoned it and I commanded it from myself. You are the driver. You are in the driver's seat of what you bring to life. This is an OG skill, okay? Number 5, detachment. Detachment is an OG skill of a life fully lived. So do your part and leave the rest up to the universe. Open palms. What if you actually are meant to get something way bigger, way more mind-blowing, and from a pathway you can't see right now, that spirit is like clearing the way for you to receive? You've got to be detached. It's when we are super detached to things that that's when they get stripped from us. And it's not about not creating magic in this 3D experience. It's not about not creating, wealth or materials or having possessions. Like, I love shit. I love beautiful things. I love beautiful clothes. I love beautiful, like, textiles and just things on my body. Like, you can see I have rings, I have crystals, I have necklaces. It's just like, I like good shit, Being detached means your innate worthiness is not attached to any of those things. And it means you are detached from the outcome. So if you're trying to micromanage the universe, you are not detached from the outcome. You are trying to control it. You're trying to like muscle your way into things. You're forcing. Instead, you get to be detached and flow. and you're like, okay, I did everything in my power to move the needle forward on this dream. I did this because it felt amazing in my body, and if it was a hell yes, and I put my best foot forward, and then we're going to see where the chips fall. And then you can be detached from it, right? That's powerful. If you are attached to a certain outcome, this energy of gripping starts to enter the equation, and you're like, wow. Then you start to choke off. If you think about that very visceral wording, if you start gripping with attachment, this is one of the great Taoist principles. This is one of the great Zen principles of mindfulness, is detachment. When you start gripping, that's when you start to pinch off the magic that spirit is trying to get to you. When you start gripping, when you start forcing, when you try to control the outcome is not your problem. The outcome is not your responsibility. What's your responsibility? Show up as the biggest, clearest, most audacious, amazing you possible. Do what's true in your heart. Do what's true in your integrity. Do what's true in your destiny path, and let the rest be up to spirit. That's detachment. Detach from the outcome. And you can say, of course, there are things you want and there are things you desire. I say, be certain, be certain about the vision. Be detached about the how, about the path, and about the who. So like one example is like people get really attached to like a certain person being their soulmate, right? And it's like, oh, the moment you get super attached to that, boom, things get weird. And you can say that or something better, that or something better. You have no idea the orchestration going on to align you in the quickest, most easeful, most delightful, joyful path for what's meant for you in your life fully lived. It's living from this space of detachment. Same thing for anything you create. So something that I say, when I'm going into a situation, so if I'm on a call with someone who might become my client, if I'm being interviewed, if I'm reaching out to someone, if I'm on a date, and like, I literally say, like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be with this person, work with this person. Like, I don't know what's meant to happen. May this bless them. May this bless them. May this expand the world. May this expand me. I have no idea what the outcome is supposed to be. However, may this bless them. And then, things unfold in mind-bending magic from there. So detachment. Okay, the next skill is manifestation. Your ability, and remember, all of these skills, these are things to learn, to hone, to refine, to sharpen, and to keep getting better at every single day till you die. All right? Manifestation is your ability to create something that does not exist yet, to create something out of nothing, to bring it through. When I talk about, okay, I'm here to help you anchor your visions for new earth, it is manifestation. Now, that word is overused. There's all of these, again, with the propaganda and misinformation about manifestation, is a lot of people are like, oh, I'm just supposed to sit there and visualize and it'll happen. Or, oh, the law of attraction, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it's this whole ecosystem and way of life where you have command of, yes, I can have an idea, I can have a desire, and I know exactly how to bring it into the 3D. Being able to manifest is a skill you must master for a life fully lived. Otherwise, your dream life will exist in your mind and you'll never exist it in your real life. And part of manifestation is nervous system reset, which is what I do with my clients in breath work, because the universe does not give you what you want. The universe gives you what you feel safe receiving and the frequency you are vibrating at in your body. Okay? Your subconscious mind controls 95% of your decisions. 95% of your decisions. So it doesn't matter how many times you say affirmations, it doesn't matter how many times you visualize. If your body's not on board, you won't bring it through. You won't bring it into the 3D. That's a huge part of manifestation. So this is a skill, an OG skill you must require for your life fully lived. Okay, number 7, skill mastery. The ability to master any skill set is a skill in itself. All right? You must master the ability to master any skill set. You must learn about how to build. You must not learn. You have to be competent. What do I mean by that? You're good at it. You can actually do it. A lot of people talk about, I want to be more confident. I want to be more confident. I want to be more confident. Confidence comes from being competent. When you know you're good at it, when you know you can do it, you're confident. It's not ego, it's truth. You're like, yeah, I'm not worried. I know how to master a skill set. How do you master a skill set? You've got to be willing to be a beginner. You've got to be willing to be relentlessly consistent. You've got to be willing to get a teacher a lot of times. You know, when people want to learn the piano, they don't just sit there and say, hey, I'll just learn by myself. They get a piano teacher. Because why would they waste their time when they can go hire someone that can teach them everything they need to know faster and they can get where they want to be faster? I mean, for any level, a teacher is going to accelerate your growth massively. You've got to master habits. You cannot master a skill without mastering habits. It's just impossible. It's impossible. So there are all of these skills that I'm sharing in this episode. Your ability to master any skill set has to be on lock for you to unlock all these other skills, right? And remember, a skill is something you can learn. This is all stuff you can learn. Now, will this podcast blow your mind open with information and possibility and insights and awareness? Yes. Will this information change your life? No. What will change your life? When you actually implement it, when you actually live it, when you actually integrate it. Okay, we're living in the time of information. You can Google anything. If you want to change your life, you got to be willing to do shit you can't Google, which means you got to be willing to sit in the room in silence with yourself. You got to command your mind. You got to master your intuition, detachment, learn how to manifest like a fucking boss. Be able to master any skill because you have a process that you know works. Okay? It's all about implementation. Okay. Number 8, neutral gaze and data collection. I call this the scientific life. So this is when you drop every single story that you make up about things and you can view life through a neutral gaze. All right? Your ability to view life through a neutral gaze and see it as data is your freedom. Okay? I use this example. It's like, okay, if I see a car parked on the street and the car's red, right? I could say, oh, that car's red. And I'm like, oh, I fucking hate red. Oh, it's so ostentatious. It's this, it's that, it's blah, 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 blah. And then what am I doing? I'm making up a story about it. It's not neutral at all. I'm spreading hate. I'm spreading hate to them. I'm spreading hate to myself. It's a big ball of not good. Okay? Or I can just look and be like, the car's red. Move on with my life. It's neutral. It doesn't mean anything. It just is. Same thing with the numbers in your bank account. Same thing with literally anything in your life. When you look at it from a data scientific lens that has nothing to do with your emotions or your self-worth, Like, let's say you look at the numbers in your bank account and they are not what you want to be seeing. You can make that mean something about your self-worth, which is not a neutral gaze. That's charged. A neutral gaze is, okay, the number is this. And then when you step into the scientist, the experimenter, the data collector, you're like, okay, here's the data. How can we improve the data? What's the game we get to play? How can we adjust the system? And it steps into this like detached problem-solving game-like energy rather than I'm the worst, I suck, how could this happen, blah, 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 blah. All of that is charged with emotion, okay? So this is a skill, being able to view your life with a neutral gaze, all right? Now, it's not to say that things in life don't bring up emotions. Do you know how much rage I have when I witness the genocide happening? I have a lot of fucking rage, okay? When I step into the neutral gaze, it's like, okay, I can look at it from a fact perspective. And from there, I can take swift action in accordance with my values, in accordance with my goals, in accordance with what I believe in, and in accordance with change because it's a neutral lens. All right. Neutral gaze, data collection. Okay. And then the last skill, OG skill of a life fully lived, is daring greatly. This is all about courage. Okay, Daring Greatly is the title of Brené Brown's book, and she starts it off with a quote. And I'm going to read this quote because I think it's really important. So I'm going to look it up. Okay, this is the quote that she starts the whole book with. And it gives me chills. I might start crying when I read it. It goes like this. It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who's actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly. Woo! That's a Teddy Roosevelt quote. Daring greatly is a skill. It's the courage to boldly, audaciously be in the arena of your own life. You do not want to sit in the seats. You do not want to sit in the bleachers watching someone else out there with your jersey playing life that you came here to live. You're not supposed to be in the bleachers of your own life. You are not supposed to be sitting on the sidelines of your own life. You are not the best friend. You are not the second actor. You are not the supporting actor or actress. You are the fucking main character in your life. And daring greatly is the skill of boldly, audaciously taking up space, living big, acting on your dreams again and again and again, and being in the arena. Most people live life from the cheap seats, and they make cheap shots from the cheap seats. These are the people that say things to you and offer unsolicited advice about the way you're living your life when they aren't doing anything in their own life to create their dream. Their feedback is automatically disqualified because they are not daring greatly. Okay? They cannot offer advice on something they don't do, they don't understand, they don't live. All right? One of my teachers says, don't take flying lessons from someone who's never flown. If you're a new earth leader, if you're here to build a better world, 99.9 99% of people that you interact with in our world will not dare greatly. You will be the outlier. And that's what makes you so fucking special, honestly. And it takes courage. If you want to hear more from me about courage, go listen to my episode, Unconditional Courage. I also have a class called Courage to Lead. It's in the show notes. It's free. Unconditional courage, unconditional daring greatly. There's no way you're going to live a life, have a life fully lived without daring greatly. You got to have courage. You got to go for it, babe. You got to do the thing. And guess what happens when you do that? All of your ancestors, all of your guides, every other spiritual soul on earth, in other realms, every animal cheers and rejoices for you. Like, yeah, she's doing it. He's doing it. They're doing it. And it doesn't matter if you face plant, because guess what? You will have lived a life fully lived. No one that's lived a full life, a life at full wattage, doesn't have failure. Failure is part of it. Face planting is part of it. Getting bloody knees, smacking your head on something is part of it. Would you rather live a life of daring greatly and master the skill of daring greatly? It's like, ooh, it's time for me to dare greatly again. Here I go. Or are you going to cower in the corner? It's so deeply painful to choose the half-assed life. It's so deeply painful. And I've mentioned this many times on the podcast. I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. I got a chance when I was 16. I went to the other side. I almost died, and I had so much regret. I was fucking filled with regret. I knew I hadn't done anything I was meant to. I was pleading with God, please let me go back. I got the chance to go back because I have a big job this lifetime. Most people don't get that shot. Most people just go with regret. Do not let that be you. I don't care what it takes. Give everything to not let that be you and be someone who dares greatly. Because that, my friend, unlocks your life fully lived. That is today's episode. That is today's transmission. This felt so good and juicy and expansive to share with you. Please let me know. Okay, which of these stuck out to you? Which one do you feel like, oh, wow, like that, that's calling me forward. That's hard. Like, that's a skill I get to master. Let me know, like, which one hit home for you the most, which one you're going to be working on the most. And yeah, I just love hearing from you about the podcast. If this changed your life, please give 30 seconds to write a review. There are so many people that listen to this podcast and say to me all the time how impactful it is. It really helps me if you make a review. Reviews are the life and blood of a podcast in growth, in reach, and all of these things. So I really, really, really invite you, ask you to, if this supports you in your spiritual path, support me in my path by writing a review. It's super easy. It's like an amazing way that you can say thank you and just keep this magic going and reaching more people. If there's someone in your life that you're like, oh, I really want to share this with them, there was like some really important message or magic that made me think of them, please share it. And if you are like, okay, I want to go deep into this stuff, I'm ready to change my life, I'm ready for the life fully lived, I'm ready to master these skills, one-on-one mentorship is for you. And I am enrolling new one-on-one mentorship clients. So this is my high touch one-on-one custom transformation deep dive where I am your daily mentor, healer, coach, guide, astrologer, breathwork facilitator, high performance mastery, like shaman, all of everything I offer, I'm with you there daily, helping you live these principles in your life. So if you are interested in this, go to the link in the show notes and apply for one-on-one mentorship. I have 3 spaces available. Now, at the time of this recording, I just decided to create a mini one-on-one mentorship experience for Q4 of 2024. And I'm calling it SOAR in Q4, right? This is your opportunity to work with me one-on-one for the rest of 2024. Now, usually my one-on-one mentorship spaces are 6 months minimum. Why? Because the deepest transformations that my clients experience happen in 6 months minimum. Okay. This is the lunar cycle. This is, just the trajectory I've seen of healing, knowledge, skill, where you're going to get the deepest, most potent transformation, which that is something you can definitely still sign up for starting right now if that is you. Now, because it is the last quarter of the year, I was inspired. This time right now is what defines what you will celebrate in January or not celebrate in January. A lot of people, it's like you get to the last quarter of the year and a lot of people give up. A lot of people are like, oh, like I'm not where I wanted to be. I'm not doing A, B, C, D, E. And it's like, you got to do something to shift. You got to do something to change. You got to level up getting a mentor. If you want to change quickly, hire me. If you want to change quickly, do breath work with me. If you want to change quickly, tap into divine timing and all of these codes with me. And so it's a 90-day sprint, basically, of like complete immersion in a one-on-one mentorship to get you to for the last quarter of 2024 to be the best quarter of 2024 for you, where you are sailing into 2025 with joy and pride and momentum and fulfillment. So if this is you, email me. The link there's my email is in the show notes. You can either do the application or you can email me. Those are the 2 ways you can reach out to me about one-on-one mentorship, whether you want to do the Q4 SOAR or you're like, I actually want the full business. I want the full deep dive. I want the full transformation. Let's fucking go in 6 months. Either way, reach out to me. I'll be in touch. There are limited spots for this. So yeah, make your move, claim your spots, and I can't wait to ride with you. All right, fam. That's all she wrote today. Go out there, be an amazing you, be the change, be the light, make a stranger smile, because it charges the whole field in ways you have no idea people really, really need right now. Don't forget how amazing you are, unique, rare, wonderful, one of a kind. Go out there and dare greatly. Live like you mean it. And I will see you next time on A Better World with Adrienne.